can. Good evening, everyone. We'll start the program in 1 minute. I hope everyone, all of you can hear me. I'm happy to see a lot of familiar faces here. Okay, good evening, everyone. It's so happy to see you all here. I'm actually sitting in Wayanad and hearing a lot of rocks around here. I used to work in Central India. That was my job. I used to drive the vehicle and track tigers and show to the people who come and watch the tigers there. And yeah, some of my friends are here. I used to take them into the jungle and all. So anyway, today is the Global Tiger Day. So I'm just going to talk some of my experience, what I've seen in the jungle, some amazing stories, and some interesting fact about tigers in India. So let me share the screen. Yeah, so in the screen you can see one tiger actually hugging a tree and another one, three tiny cubs are on the top of a tiger. So these are the things we used to see in the park, or we used to watch these tigers in the park. We know that tigers are amazing, beautiful. They are the biggest cat in the world. And I had a lot of amazing time with these animals. Especially, I still remember when I landed in Pench around uh, 13, 14 years ago as a part of my naturalist training with the Taj Safaris. We were in Pench National Park almost 2 3 months. The first initial 1 month it was training, so we were eager to see the tigers there. So that time there was not much tiger sighting. I still remember the first tiger sighting we had. I mean, one of my friend Alvin was driving the vehicle. We were driving. Is almost there were around 7 naturalists in the vehicle. So we were looking at the bird. We were watching some woodpeckers and all, and suddenly a spotted deer called. Probably 100 meters ahead. Alvin switched on the vehicle and he drove ahead and stopped the vehicle, waited for 2 minutes. Suddenly, in front of our vehicle, there's a beautiful tigress just walked past. And she came in the middle of the road and turned around and looked at us and just walked across. That was my first tiger sighting in the wild. I remember when I turned around, I looked at my friends. Most of them were crying. Most of them were seeing it still first time. So those are the time. And after that, I managed to see tigers in Kana, Bandhavgarh, Pench, Ranthambore, Satpura. Even I was lucky to see tigers in Sundarbans also. So let's go through this. Okay, this is what I used to do. I used to drive this vehicle, into the park. I mean, it was like a paid holiday for us. I mean, I used to work with Taj Safari, Singanama Jungle Lodge, Forsyth Lodge. Also, all these places, we had this amazing open jeep where people could sit in the back, and we used to drive the vehicle into the jungle. And we used to look for all the signs and tracks. I mean, when you drive around, we look at the ground and look for any signs of tigers and all. When tigers are on a walk, you can actually see the tracks there. If it's a very fresh tracks, the edges will be sharp. So if it's probably an hour or two or a day old, there'll be a lot of dust inside. There'll be all those little clues we used to take, and we used to identify the freshness of those tiger pug marks, and we listen to the jungle and hear different alarm calls and all. And that's what we used to do. So next picture is something interesting. This is one of my friend Rushal taken from Pench. And this is in Pench National Park. The guy who is in the driving seat is the Kaustup Tombre, one of my friend. Tigers are actually territorial animal. I mean, they need to mark their territory regularly. So this is funny thing happened. Kaustup actually, we call him Katie. Katie actually stopped the vehicle next to a tree where a tiger regularly used to mark the tree. He didn't know that. This is a famous tigress called Kalavali female. I mean, and she's still there. I think she's almost 11 or 12 years old or more than that. And Katie actually parked the vehicle right in front of the tree. And tiger came very close to the vehicle and growled at him, I mean, almost. So what he done is he left the driving seat and he's actually sitting on a guide's lap. Actually not, he's sitting on other seat, but we usually, police like saying that, you're actually sitting on the guide's lap. So this is one of the funniest thing, these are the things we do experience in the jungle. I've seen tigers walking for us probably a meter ahead. There was instance tigers were roaring and walking towards my vehicle. I was kept on reversing my vehicle. And there was instance when tigers roared, some of the guests, they were really scared. They took out the blanket and put it on the head and hiding under the vehicle. So these are the things sometimes I'm experienced. Sometimes we see them, tigers are hunting. And tigers, just strolling through the grasslands and jungle, all those amazing incidents we get to see. So that is one of the perk we used to have when we used to work in the jungle. So we used to call us naturalists or guides, but we had great time with these animals. This is probably one of my most amazing tiger encounter. So this happened in Kanha National Park almost 12 years ago. So this particular tiger actually trying to pull down a wild pig, a large wild boar. So this is what happened that day morning. We were driving. I was with a couple from UK. So we were driving through the park and we got this beautiful tigress walking in front of our vehicle. So she was spray marking. She was quietly walking just one vehicle. So we were taking a lot of pictures. We were enjoying the tiger sightings. So after 10-15 minutes, she disappeared into the jungle. So we had great time, and we were sharing literally high five and all. Then we were coming back for the breakfast. So those days, probably 10-12 years ago, in Kanha and all used to have tiger tracking. So what forest department used to do, they used to send out the elephants. They had around 5-6 elephants to patrol the jungle. Excuse me. So they send out these elephants. Elephants go and try to find a tiger. Whenever they find a tiger, they follow the tigers. When the tigers walk somewhere, when they sit down, when tiger rests sometimes, you are allowed to go on an elephant and see the tiger. You are allowed that. So you have to pay for that money, So I asked my guests, do you really want to see that tiger? Probably tigers will be sleeping under a bush. It's not a great sight. We already had a great tiger sighting. Do you really want to go and see it? Because personally, I don't like that, the way you see tigers from elephant back. So the guest said, no, David, it's okay. We had a great morning, let's go and have breakfast. So when we were having breakfast, almost 9 o'clock, the guest asked, David, he said, are there still tiger there? We don't mind seeing one more tiger. I said, yeah, you should have told me before. Anyway, let me check. I checked with the forest department. They said, yeah, you can still go. You may be the last vehicle. So I rushed to the place, there was an elephant there. So I put the guest on the top of the elephant. They went and saw the tiger. Tiger was sleeping under the bush. It was not a great sighting. But when they come back, I asked them, how was the sighting? They said, no, it's okay. The tiger was sleeping under a bush and all. But then the elephants, the guys who ride the elephant, they are called the mahous. They were also going back to their camp. Suddenly, we started hearing this loud sound, like a loud sound. Then elephants started turn around, the mahouts started turn around, and they said, yeah, the tigers actually caught a wild pig, a wild boar. So I knew all the mahouts and all. So I told them, guys, where are you going? Come, I also want to go. You bring the elephant here. So there were two elephants. So I put two of my guests in one elephant. I climbed onto another elephant with my camera and all. So when I went there, this was the sight. This female was actually 2 years old that time. So 2 years means she was still a sub-adult. She was still with the mother. And if you look carefully, you can see two more tigers, one to the right and one in the right corner, top corner. There's another tiger there. So these tigers were there, and the mother was in a probably 10 meters ahead. So this sub-adult female was trying to bring down this huge wild boar. I mean, it's probably a 60, 70 kilos wild boar. It's a massive wild boar. And what the female was doing, she was actually pinning down the wild boar into the ground and trying to bite break the backbone. But the wild boar was not giving up. He was still standing there, giving a good fight. So this was the next thing we see. After 10 minutes of fight, the tiger, what you see to the left, that's the sub-adult female, and the mother is to the right. So this thing happened after 10 minutes. The mother came and she had enough of this thing. She just put her left hand on the top of this wild boar and dragged. So imagine this tiger is actually fighting with this wild boar, and both of them are putting enough pressure and power. She just dragged the wild boar and the tiger in 15-20 meters within probably a few seconds. So I could actually watch the power of that tiger. So this is that the mother and the sub-adult female was trying to bring down the wild boar. Wild boar was still standing, he's like, I don't care, you guys try, whatever. So we watched it for almost 15 minutes. Then we left the tiger. So that is one of my amazing sighting I had. I didn't have a proper cameras and all. I had a normal camera with a 250mm lens. So, but I managed to get some amazing shots. Okay, so when you go to the jungle and watch animals, or look for tigers, you tend to miss a lot of other animals also, because these spotted deers or sambar on the top right, or the below one is the barking deer. So these are the animals which actually help us to find tigers. There is another interesting animal in Kanha. This is called the swamp deer, or in Hindi we call it Barasingha. The antlers actually got 12 to 14 twines. That's why we call it Barasingha. I mean, Kanha people actually go for the tigers. That's the tiger picture I took from Kanha tiger, actually like hugging a tree. But this Kanha Tiger Reserve actually meant to protect the swamp deers. There's an amazing story in 1950s and 60s. The swamp deer number was going down. I mean, it was less than, I think, 60. There's a book called Deer and Tiger written by Dr. George Schaller. In that, he mentioned it, in Kanha Meadow, that's the only place there were these swamp deers. And the swamp deers, the number was reducing because the tiger were eating a lot of swamp deer. That was his discovery in those. That's what is written in the book. But later, there's a person called Claude Martin, I think from Switzerland or something. He came and he studied, I think in late 60s, he started studying swamp deers in Kanha. So he brought out some amazing discoveries. Like swamp deers are very particular about what they eat. They eat all peculiar different kind of grasses. They feed only on that. And to give birth, they need this swampy grassland. I mean, wherever there's swamps and they need this tall reed beds or grass, they actually give birth in that, which was missing in Kanha Meadow. And all these swamp deers, which was left probably less than 60 there, they had to walk to, there is a nearby meadow almost 10 kilometers away. It's called the Swamp Meadow. They used to walk up to that Swamp Meadow, give birth, and bring back the babies back to the Kanha Meadow. So that time, a lot of leopards and jackals and all kind of smaller predators used to kill their babies. So that was the main reason the Barasingha number was going down. So when he found out all these details, he submitted this thesis to the forest department. They started creating all this grassland. And now I think it's over 600 or 800 swamp deers are surviving in Kanha Tiger Reserve. Okay, and this is two animals we often ignore when you go and look for tiger safaris or look for tigers. The spotted deers and the monkeys. Spotted deers, I still remember me and my friend Surya Ramachandran, we did a book on Central Indian wildlife. we didn't have a good picture of spotted deers because this is the most common deer in all over India. We wrote to quite a lot of photograph of friends, but nobody had a good image. So then we started, deliberately started taking pictures of the spotted deers. Even monkeys, nobody had a great images because all the features and all. And also they have, people often say they have a symbiotic relation because whenever the monkeys feed on the top of the tree, they say, they drop the leaf, which is not true because monkeys tend to eat the stalk of the leaf and then the leaf will fall. So the deers can feed on that leaf. Also, what happens, monkeys in a troop of monkeys, the langurs, usually they will be have a one watcher. His job is to sit on the top of the trees and look around for any predators. If a leopard or a tiger comes, his job is to give warning call. So whenever he give warning calls, we see all the monkeys are climbing onto the top of the trees, and they can. So deers also get a benefit from that. When if there are any tigers or leopards around, monkeys actually give warning calls so they can get alert and they can get escape also from the predators. So monkeys and deers actually help. Also, when we go to the jungle, we know that tiger is the king of the Indian jungle. But we have two more amazing predators in Indian jungle. I mean, if you ask me which are the top three predators in Indian jungle, excuse me, that is leopard, wild dogs, and the tiger. And I mean, it's difficult to see leopards in the Indian jungle because there are a few places like in Rajasthan, Bera, good place to see leopards, or in South India, there's a place called Kabini or Nagarhole, There a good chance to see leopards. Even black panther is been showing up pretty well, and wild dogs also. So these are the three top predators in Indian jungle. And we also have a slug pace, which is, I mean, this is probably my favorite animal. When we used to work in Satpura, we used to have amazing time. I mean, the way they carry their babies on the back and stroll around in the jungle, and their staple diet is termites and ants, and also they look for the seasonal fruits. Amazing animal to see. So when you go to the jungle and when you try to find a tiger, if you see a bear, try to find, I mean, spend more time with the bear because bears are difficult to see it. I also want to quickly show some of my friends. There are girls also works in the jungle. They are amazing trackers, amazing naturalists. There's Ragna there, there's Payal, there's Sadhvi, there's Vratika. All these girls actually do work in the jungle. They drive the vehicle, they go into the jungle, track tigers and all. So, I mean, I just want to show these pictures so that if somebody interested, if girls think, okay, this is it only for boys. No, there are people working there in the jungle. Okay, so when you talk about cats, I mean, we know that tiger is the biggest cat in the world. We have a lot of tigers in India. But did you know that we have around 15 different cats in India? If you take Africa as a whole, the entire continent, they only got 10 cats. But in India, we got 15 cats. In that, probably we have 4 big cats, or you can call it a 5. If you count the clouded leopard, also big cat, it's a 5. So we have tigers, we have lions, we have leopard, we have clouded leopard. And if you count clouded leopard, yeah, it's 5. Or you can call it a 4 big cats. And we have 11 smaller cats. Like tiger is the biggest cat in the world, and the rusty spotted cat, what you see in the top, the lower left corner, rusty spotted cat is the smallest cat in the world. So in India, we have the biggest cat in the world and the smallest cat in the world. And we know that, snow leopards and all surviving up in the Himalayas, and some elusive cats like marble cat and Pallas's cat and Eurasian lynx and all, it's found in India. Okay, let's get back to the tigers. I mean, tigers, we used to have a historical range around 100 years ago. It was like that orange map what you see throughout in India, Bangladesh, Myanmar, Laos, Thailand, Hong Kong, North Korea, South Korea. It was extended throughout all these areas. But eventually it got, isolated, or it got get extinct in different places. Now you can see all those blue dots in India. Inside all those are the places only we have tigers. And we already lost 3 subspecies of the tigers, Bali, Java, and Caspian tigers. But whatever talking, India is probably the only place you actually get to see tigers in the wild. I remember one of my friends told me this, one of the lady who was working in somewhere in Malaysia, she was studying on tigers. She put up camera traps. She got, I think, around 23 or 30 different tigers in her camera trap. In 5 years, she never seen a tiger in the wild. but there are tigers. So, but still, India is the only place probably you can actually go and do a safari and look for the tigers. So India have over 50 tiger reserves. I mean, that's a map of India, so it's all around. But still, there are only few pockets where you can go and see it, because some of the places like Namdapha Tiger Reserve or Baksa in West Bengal, those places it's almost impossible to see a tigers, because very few are left, and very difficult terrain to find those tigers. So this is the number. 1900s we supposed to have 40,000 tigers. Now 2020 we have less than 3,000 tigers left in the wild. But luckily the latest news is very much promising. We have a lot more tigers than what we expect. Okay, so wild tigers, we know that lions and all can grow probably 200 kgs or 220 and all. But tigers, the big male tigers can grow up to 250 and all, but some Siberian tigers can all grow up to 300 kgs also. So they can grow up pretty big. Female usually 100 to 160 kgs. They also live in the wild 10 to 12 years. Few tigers, rarely 15 or 16 years. Yeah, tiger stripes actually help them to camouflage in the grassland. A lot of people ask these questions: what is the white tiger or the black tigers and all? So this particular white tiger, you must have gone to a lot of zoos. In the world, a lot of different zoos, they got these white tigers. So there's a fascinating story behind this white tigers, how they got the first white tiger. So there was a erstwhile state kingdom which called the Rewa. Now it's close to Bandhavgarh Tiger Reserve in Madhya Pradesh. So they used to have few white tigers in the wild. They've been observed few white tigers. So in 1951, they caught a white tiger, a male white tiger. His name was Mohan. So they caught him, they put him in a zoo or in a cage and put him with a normal female tiger. When he mated with a normal tiger, whatever first set of female, the cubs were born, they were all normal color tigers. After there was one female was also in that cubs. Once she grew up, after that, she's been put back with the father. So they mated. After that, all the cubs were born. They were all white tigers. So whatever white tigers you see around the world, they are all the father is the same one, the Mohan from Riva. And a few years ago in Simlipal in Orissa, they've been sighted few black tigers. You can't call it really black tigers, but the stripes is pretty thick black. That's why they call it a black tiger. It's just a recessive of the melanin. Okay, when you go to the jungle, you can suppose if you see a tiger, how do you identify the male and female? Usually, like I mentioned, male tigers are big in size. They can grow up to 250 or 300 kgs. Females are 100 or 160. So the size itself, it's a big difference. And also they have this big mane on around their head. You can see a lot of hair around, but the two pictures to the left is the male and two pictures to the right is the female. So you can see the female head is smaller compared to the male, and male head is also bigger, and the neck also usually it's much heavier for a male, and female the neck is much smaller. And usually if you look just below the tail, you can actually see the testicle, which is it's a clear cut ID for the male. And also when you go to the jungle, sometimes you get to see this the tiger track. So how do you identify the male track and a female track? Usually the males, the pad is the bigger and broader for the male, and the toes are round for the male tigers. That's what the picture to the left. To the right, the female pugmar, the pad is smaller compared to the male, and usually the third finger is longer. So, and it's much more, it's not proper round. If you put a box around a track, if it's a square, if it's a male, if it's a rectangle, it's a female. That's what we usually say, but there are exceptions. There was a tiger in Kana buffer zone, and we've seen the tiger. I mean, the track, when you see, it's look like a small female tiger, but when you see the tiger, he's actually a big male tiger. There are females, like in Satpura, there was a huge female track. I mean, I used to call them, it's a male tiger track. So there are differences, but most of the time you can identify the tiger tracks with these simple tips. Okay, so how do you guess the age of the tigers? So when all the tigers, the cubs are born, they got a very sharp pink nose. So very peculiar. When they grow up, probably 2-3 years, they'll have the pink nose. And all the tiger to the right is the it's a 2 years old, and that's the small baby there, and the big male to the left, he almost 11 years old. So if you look at it, its the nose are getting slightly darker. When he gets probably 12, 13, 14 years and all, the nose goes completely dark. So when you look at a tiger itself, we can actually say, okay, that is probably over 10 years old. So that's what we usually say. And how do you identify different tigers? These are two popular tigers in Kanha Tiger Reserve. And sometimes, like your friends, when you see your friends, you don't have to see his face. When you walk far away, you can actually see, oh, that is my friend walking. So similar, the tigers also have some traits which you can actually pick up in the field and identify. So like the tiger to the top left, he actually on the left cheek, there's a round shape, the dark round shape. That's when you see it itself, we used to, okay, that is the T30, we used to call it the T30 tiger. And another one, this tiger, I mean, I don't even have to look at his any marking, because if you look carefully, the tiger to the right, bottom right, his right eye is actually smaller. He actually almost like a winking the eyes too. So whenever you walk from far away and walk towards your vehicle and all, I mean, you don't have to look for the any features and all. Look at his eyes. His eyes is smaller right eye. We used to call it, okay, that is T29. And of course, all the tigers, the stripes are different. I mean, this is a mother and daughter. So unlike the top left one is actually it's much more paler than the usual tigers. So whenever we used to see it, and the stripes are all the tigers, the stripes are very different. So in India, we use this method called camera trap to count the tigers. So I think every 4 years they'll have this tiger counting all across India. So what they do, they entire national park or wildlife sanctuaries, they set up these camera traps. And they do probably a month or two long camera trapping. So they capture all this picture, and with the help of experts and all, they'll identify. I think there's an app also to identify different tigers, and they compare. If they get the pictures from both the flank, you can easily identify tiger. Okay, so there are a few things tigers need in their life. I mean, tigers are amazing cats. I mean, they are like our domestic cat. They can survive if you give proper protection and so they need a healthy, inviolate, undisturbed forest like this one. This is from the top of Kanha. I took this picture. They need a healthy, big forest to survive, because there's a lot of tigers there. They have a proper social organization. So for that, they need to have a large forest. This is an amazing habitat I've seen in Sundarbans. I went to Sundarbans probably 10 years ago. I still don't know how those tigers are surviving there. So Sundarbans actually got its name. There's a tree called Sundari, and there is a interesting story also. There is a goddess called Bon Bibi. So whoever go to the jungle, I mean, they pray to the god Bon Bibi and go to the jungle, because the villagers are known to collect the honey from there. That is one of their main income. And when they go to the jungle, they'll actually pray to the god. So they have some amazing, some crabs, some water monitors. So people do fishing around the villages and all. They got freshwater, I mean, the saltwater crocodiles and all. They have amazing fiddlers, crab. Then we have Irrawaddy dolphins and all. And I was lucky to see this Sundarbans tiger. Look at this tiger. I mean, it is probably the most ferocious tiger I've seen. It's not nice to put up a tiger. It's ferocious. It's not good to call him. But this is the only time when I saw a tiger, I was really scared. So this was, we were traveling through that. We done a boat ride almost, I think, 10 years ago. And we were going, I mean, almost 9 o'clock. I know I was looking through my binoculars. I was sitting in the front of the boat. We were like 5-6 people on the boat. We were guests. And I was scanning the water. There was nothing actually to see. So I saw 2 crows are flying far away. So I pulled out my binoculars. I scanned the crows, and then I scanned the bank. So on the bank, there was actually a tiger was walking into the forest. So I literally screamed, guys, there's a big tiger there. So we slowly approached the tiger, and tiger was sitting there. So I still remember when I clicked my first picture, the second thing I said, guys, do you have a stick or something? There is a chance this tiger actually jumped into the boat. Because look at his face. I mean, he was actually he was not happy that we are around. And it's also amazing that how these tigers are surviving there. Sundarbans, I mean, actually don't have any proper fresh water. Most of this water is brackish water or slightly larger I would say salt water. These brackish water tigers may not able to drink much. And also the thing is they have a low tide and high tide. So what happened in low tide, these tigers are territorial animals. They need to mark the territory. When they mark the territory, after sometimes it get flooded that area when the high tide. So all the markings will disappear. So they have to be in constant fight with other rival males or rival females, So they are always in a pressure. But yeah, this is one of my amazing sightings to see these tigers in Sundarbans. So tigers need habitat, good, healthy and undisturbed habitat. Then they need food. So tigers need at least 50 to 60 large deer in a year, and also supplement of whatever they can come across. They do eat wild boar or wild pigs. If they come across a gore, I mean, if they can kill, some tigers are specialized in killing gores and all. So what they usually do, they attack from the back and break the hamstring. So they bring down the gore. If they can bring down the gore, it's probably 500, 600 kgs. If it's a large one, it can go up to 800 kgs of gore. So it's a lot of good meal there. So he can sit there and eat. They're sitting, they eat up to 30 kgs of meat. So they need a lot of food and they need water. So tigers actually, especially in Central Indian jungle and all, they need to drink water regularly. But in summertime, it goes up to 45 degrees. As parks like Tadoba and all, it goes up to 50 degrees and all. Imagine 50-degree heat. It's unbearable. So when we can't survive outside, so imagine tigers. So tigers has to come and sit in the water. So this is one tiger is cooling in Kanha. This is one of the popular place for all the people in summertime in Kanha. So this is one of the amazing sighting I had. I think I already showed this picture. But if you look carefully, you can actually see two tiny stripes next to her in the grass. So this tigress was actually walking towards that waterhole. We didn't know that she had actually 3 cubs. And that was, I mean, she stood there. Suddenly, cubs actually climbed onto a small dead log. Okay, interesting about this particular tiger. She's actually, we heard a lot of news like, tigers when they give birth, they actually go and give birth in a den and all. But this particular tiger known to give birth in, rotten big logs and all, which will have holes. So she known to hide the cubs inside the hole. And whenever she wants, she'll go and bring them out. I mean, it's amazing. I think 2-3 times the Mahouts also told us she actually hide her cubs inside dead log. Yeah, she was standing there and staring at a waterhole. You know why? There was actually a big male tiger waiting. You can see the other corner, the female still there with the cubs watching. She wanted to make sure, it is the father of her cubs only. Because other tigers can also come there because it's hot, the water is less. So she looked for probably a few minutes. Then she made sure, okay, it is the father of her cubs only. Then she slowly started coming down into the water. Then we had some amazing time with these cubs. I mean, they were playing in the water and all. But next day, after 2 days when we landed there, we saw something worrying. The same place, there was another male tiger. He was not a dominant male. He was a subadult male or a transient male. He was visiting that area. The male was the dominant male or the territorial male was okay. This tiger was coming there because this was his son only. Okay, this is the father to the left, the son to the right, probably taken 2 days difference. You can see the same log, same place he was sitting. You can actually see the difference also. The marking is different, both the males. And sadly, this new male went and killed 2 of the cubs. I mean, it was sad to see. I saw her, the female was carrying the dead cub on her mouth and she was walking away. There was a lot of commotion. I mean, she was trying to defend with this. She was fighting with this male tiger, but still the males are much bigger than the female. She couldn't put up. This male tiger went and killed 2 of her cubs. Later, we started seeing only 1 cub. This was that she was always protecting her this cub. And this is some of the sighting after that. The cub was used to run away from us. But yeah, the mother was also want to keep her cub away. This is one usual sighting in winter. Winters are amazing to see tigers in the park, especially in Central Indian jungles. I just love it. The light is amazing. It's beautiful light. Okay, so how do tigers protect their territories? We know that we all got houses. I mean, when I go to my house, I don't like any stranger, or I don't allow any stranger, some strange random person come and stay in my house. So because that is my house, I protect my house. Same way, the tigers also do that. They have different territories. So how do they protect it? There's an invisible territory they create with doing these kind of thing. They spray mark to the trees. They poop on the ground, which is, and also they scrape with the hind legs. So that is actually a visual sign for other tigers. When they come, they see it. When they observe it, it's actually everything is there. They can make out how old that tiger, how strong is that. Also, tigers do scratch mark on the tree with mainly to clean and sharpen their claws. Also, it's a part of their territorial marking. There are some studies from Africa, while the lions actually got some scent glands on between the toes. So I guess we have the same for tigers also. While they scratch on the trees, they leave some scent glands. Suppose if it's a new tiger come, if it's a male or female, when he or she smells that, she can actually make out, okay, this is how old this tiger, how weak, am I able to defend him? So all those things, they are actually, it's an invisible territory they are creating. Always, tiger also do patrol their territories regularly. They walk a lot. They usually walk regularly onto these paths. Okay, so this is the typical way a tiger social organization works. In a healthy ecosystem, like probably we can call out a few parks like Kana Tiger Reserve, Bandhavgarh, Pench, or Kaziranga, or Ranthambore, Corbett, or Nagarhole, and all. These are the place where tiger got a healthy numbers, healthy ecosystem of tigers. In those kind of parks, tigers got the male tigers got 50 to 100 square kilometers. They usually hold it. It's also dependent upon the food and water and habitat and all, like I previously mentioned. Usually that is a range 50 to 100 square kilometers. Female within the male's territory, probably 2 to females will be there. So like I mentioned, there's a red color or blue, white, whatever that circle. So within the male's territory, females will be defending their own territory. So female will have much more smaller territory. Sometimes some female got 15 square kilometers. Some, if it's a larger or bigger female, she might be holding 30 or 40 square kilometer. So imagine, okay, let me tell you a few more things interesting. So there is a breeding male, they are called the dominant male. There's a breeding female, they are called the dominant female. And when the tigers, suppose if a female have cubs, when they born till 1 year, they usually call a cub. 1 year to 2 years, they are called the sub-adults. When they're separate from the mother, let me go to the next slide. Okay, they're called the transients and the floaters, because the mother will be kick them out because she don't want them to be around. Sometimes if it's a female cub, she may give a part of her territory, sometimes she may not. So what happened with these transients and floaters? They'll be always constantly checking for their territories. Suppose if it's there is a nearby area or some other range, the new male tiger has come to this area, is strong enough to challenge the dominant male or the breeding male. He will come and challenge it. He try to chase away it. Sometimes they'll do fight a lot. And if the male leave the place, the new male will take over the territory. And he might try to kill the cubs of the remaining females there. So females also try to defend. They try to do mock mating and all. But eventually the males will win because males are big in size. He'll make sure he'll be mating with the female. So the dominant male who was holding the territory don't have a territory. He will go out. So those male or female will become a transient or a floater. So this is the way tiger territory works. So we need to have this kind of different social organization. Probably if there is a 30 breeding females or 40 breeding females in an area, so tigers tend to do survive. So this is one interesting thing. We saw it in Kana. This female had 3 cubs, 2 males and 1 female. And after 2 years, both the males separated from the mother. They went away, but the female was reluctant to leave. She was sticking with the mother, and this is what we saw. The female cub or the sub-adult was resting in the water. The mother went and almost killed her. She was, when we thought, she's going to kill that cub, but that sub-adult female didn't give up. She literally fought with the mother. Now I heard the news that she slowly started taking over mother's part of the territory. That's where the tigers survive. Okay, we saw a lot of interesting stories, amazing things. So this is one of my best sighting. Like I mentioned, tigers. This little one was resting on thing. But a lot of there is a major threat happening to these tigers. One of the major problem, that is the poaching. Yeah, we are losing a lot of tigers in India due to poaching. I mean, it's all because of illegal, the wildlife trade. I think in the world almost $19 billion are spent on this illegal trade. So whatever protection we do, there is actually we lose a lot of animals from Indian jungle. We lose one-horned rhinos. We lose a lot of elephants. We lose a lot of tigers. All because this is a picture I think from somewhere in Tibet or Nepal where all the tigers' skin and leopard skin have been displayed. It's all for the main reason is it's the Chinese traditional medicine. So all the Chinese traditional medicine, those who use it, they wrongly believe that every part of tigers is being used. Even tigers' whiskers are used to make it for a toothache, medicine for toothache, tail for skin disease. So every part of tiger is used. So the bone, look at the bones are used to headache, arthritis, all those. So whatever protection Indian government does, I mean, Indian government actually hats off to all the forest department and all. They do fantastic service. They actually do protect our tigers. They go out, they do proper patrolling and all. But whatever they do, it's a simple economics. Like I always mentioned, it's a simple economics. There is a demand from Chinese medicine for all the tiger parts. So when there is a demand, what will happen? There's a market in India. There's a lot of tiger reserves and good tiger numbers. So there are people they're ready to supply. So the moment you pump in money, it's economics works. When you put more money, more tigers will keep on losing from our Indian jungle. So yeah, this is a sad story of our tigers. So what usually happens in this park, especially most of the tigers inside the protected areas are protected. I mean, the moment, like I mentioned, all the transient tigers or the floaters, the moment they come out, they get poached. So how do they do? Mainly because the help of villages, or there are a few tribes in central India or in North India. Like in central India, there are Pardis and Peels. They're amazing trackers. They actually walk in the jungle. They track down tigers and kill it. Or some Mongia tribes in Rajasthan, they actually are very good trackers. They actually put these snares and they trap animal mainly probably for deer and all. But eventually tigers also get trapped. And once they get trapped, they put the jaw traps and all. So they spear the tigers to the death and everything put it in a suitcase and send it to China via Tibet. That's a regular route. It actually goes to Delhi, from there to Nepal and Tibet, and from there to China. This is a proper way of killing tigers. So it's actually, unless the government step in, I mean, we are trying to protect it, but if we can stop that demand from Chinese medicine, we can actually save a lot of tigers. Yeah, in 2005, Sariska lost all the tigers. Ranthambore lost a lot of tigers. 2010, Panna lost all the tigers, but luckily the government reintroduced the tigers there. Now even Sariska, Panna and all doing pretty well. I think over 40 or 50 tigers are surviving all those jungles. Yeah, we had around 8 subspecies. Now 3 are already vanished. We need to protect all of them. We have 50 tiger reserves in India. I mean, Dr. Ullas Karanta and all those tiger experts usually say, in Indian jungle, we still can hold more than 10,000 tigers. We have the space and food and all. So we need to have a proper management. We can get all those 10,000 tigers. This is another probably again one of my most fascinating tiger sighting I had in Kanha Tiger Reserve. I still remember I was the first one to enter the park. I had a Kanha zone. So if you know Kanha Tiger Reserve, you drive from Mukki zone to Kanha zone, which is almost 1 hour 15 minutes. And you generally don't stop because Kanha Meadow is the largest meadow in Kanha Tiger Reserve. So we usually go, there are 2-3 tigers there. There are pretty good chance to see the tiger. So we started early morning. We landed in Kanha Meadow and early morning, winter morning. So suddenly we started hearing a lot of spotted deer alarm call. Then we saw this beautiful tigress walking. This tiger is actually one of probably the most prettiest tigers. I don't like to call some tigers pretty, but she's actually pretty, is very pretty tiger. So she actually walked in front of my vehicle. She walked and crossed across the road, and she's sat down probably 30 meters from my vehicle. I parked my vehicle there. So right behind this, 2-3 vehicles more pulled up there, and they were waiting. Right behind my vehicle was my friend Narayan. So he was there, and we were watching this tiger. We took a few pictures and all. And to the right, we started hearing a lot of babblers who were giving loud noises. They were creating a lot of ruckus. So I was looking at the tiger. Nara actually was looking through his binoculars. Then he shouted, "Hey, David, there's a spot-bellied eagle owl." So spot-bellied eagle owl, the top left thing, that is the largest owl in India. So I was trying to explain to my guests, hey, look at ignore tiger. There's actually a big eagle owl sitting there. That is the biggest eagle owl in India. It is extremely rare to see. I've seen it only probably 2-3 times in Kana and all. But nobody was bothered. Everybody was taking pictures of this tiger because tiger was out in the open in good early morning light. So all the guests, probably three different vehicles, I think 3 or 4 vehicles, they were all taking pictures of the tiger. Me and Nara, we were actually turned the opposite direction and looking at the eagle owl through our binoculars. And we didn't know that this eagle owl had actually killed a big peacock, and she was feeding on this peacock. After a few minutes, tiger got annoyed because the babblers were giving too much of noise. The tigers walked up and walked across the road, and she started talking towards this eagle owl, this big owl. So me and Nara literally was screaming out, "Don't kill that owl! I mean, if you want to kill, go and kill some spotted deers, but don't kill that owl because owls are difficult to see." So this tiger went. When tiger approached probably 2 meters away from the this eagle owl took off with this on her talon with this big peacock. So this tiger actually left from the ground, and in the air she slapped the eagle owl. The owl was landed on the ground, probably broken its wings, and this tiger went and picked up the peacock and walked into the jungle. So that is probably one of the most amazing thing I've seen it in the jungle. The picture on the lower right, bottom corner, is the tiger actually carrying the peacock. You can actually see that picture. I managed to get a small picture of that. And let me try to play a small video before we. This was one of the sighting I had in Tadoba. This tiger was trying to hunt a wild pig, but he couldn't hunt. The wild boar was fast. It's a huge tiger, big male tiger. Okay, I think with that, I'll end my talk. If you have any questions and all, we can take it up. This is again a tiger is walking into the grassland in Kanamadu, early mornings, winter morning. Thank you so much to all those who are attended. And yeah, thank you so much. If you have any questions, please do put it in chat box. I'll take it up from there. I don't want to drag it too much, so. Yeah, a lot of people are writing, they all want to go back to the jungle. Yeah. Somebody is asking, what is the reason for loss of tigers in Buxa? Buxa is actually one of the prettiest forests in West Bengal. I've been there a few times, mainly to look for butterflies and all. I don't know what is the main reason. Probably it's poaching is one of the major thing. And the less of prey. Oh, I forgot to mention it also. Sundarbans, one of the main reason they attack humans is the lack of food. The prey population is very less. Probably that's a similar reason in Buxa also. The food is, they don't have enough food. Thank you. If you have any questions, somebody is asking. I saw the news in the newspaper that the tiger poaching is more this lockdown time. Is it true? I don't know actually, Anuvit. I don't know the exact thing, but probably yeah. See, a lot of people used to depend upon the tiger reserves. There's tourism was there. When they don't have money, probably yeah, they must have been killing tigers. I don't know. Somebody's asking what all caution should be taken when you see a tiger. I mean, most of these tigers, I seen it. It was on a safari. So, and also if you're going to the jungle, make sure you're going with a proper guide and with the proper permissions and all. Don't go into venture into the jungle to see a tiger and all. Make sure you're going with the proper guide, proper permissions and all. Dr. Janardhan is asking, has the Project Tiger program achieved its target? I think Project Tiger done pretty well. Yeah, in 70s when it started, it was 10. Now it's almost 50 tiger reserves. So one of the reason it's not just to protect the tiger, it's also to protect other animals. So the moment you declare an area as a tiger reserve, uh, other animals also will benefit. If there is like in Kana, the swamp deers are getting benefited. Some other parks, there are smaller animals, some even a grasshopper or a butterfly get benefit because they get special funding there. You get special protection from there. Oh, somebody's asking, sir, domestic cats have different colors of fur coat, but tigers have same color and are always striped. Why this? I think we bred our cats too much into different with a different uh, way. It's all inbreed, but tigers are still keeping their gene pool. But probably there is tigers are supposed to evolve around 36 million years ago somewhere in China or South China somewhere. So eventually from that, tigers actually, it's all related other cats and all. So they adapted and all. But yeah, tigers don't have different colors. Yeah. Somebody's asking, are human flesh is salty for lions? I don't know. Somebody's asking, Nandita, is Kana better than Corbett? I don't know, Nandita. It's all personal perspective. I like both the park. I've been to both the park, Kanha and Corbett. Both are beautiful parks. Yeah, I don't know. It's just, yeah. Someone asking, what was your most frightening moment in the wild when you see a tiger? Okay, I'll tell you one. I usually don't like to say this kind of frightening stories, but this was in Satpura Tiger Reserve. I was with one of my guests. He used to visit us every year. So we were going from Madai zone to Churna. So we were driving there, and there was a guide called Kanaya. Both of us standing in the back seat, and we stand there and look for animals and all. So, and my guest was sitting in the front seat with another guide, and the driver was in the front. So we were driving there, and on the way we started seeing some big tiger pugmark. Tiger pugmark, we saw it, we checked. Me and guide looked at the pugmark and said, "Yeah, this is last night track. It's not fresh. Let's continue the travel." So when we went probably 100 meters ahead, we saw these three sambar deer, sambar Indians standing there and staring at me the road. They are not moving. They are not giving any alarm calls. Nothing. They just frightened. They are looking at the road. So we told the driver, okay, reverse the vehicle. Tiger just walked past. We mischecked the time. So we reversed the vehicle. We came back. We started hearing a lot of spotted deer and monkeys were giving alarm. There were a lot of thick bushes and all. So guest was also standing. He was looking in the front. Me and guide Kanaya, we were looking behind and looking, scanning that area. Suddenly we see this tiger there far away, and he leapt 2-3 meters and he came really close to the vehicle. Probably he's seeing the tiger first time. So both of us, me and guide, literally went under the seat. It is an instinct. But yeah, after that, we've seen a lot of tigers walk past really close to us. But yeah, it was all good. Somebody's asking, what about the tiger population in Periyar Tiger Reserve? Is there any poaching of tigers there? Well, a lot of people watching, it's a public platform. Still, I say none of the tiger reserves are safe in India. All the tigers, when they get outside, they will either get poached or get poisoned in central India and all. If they get poached or run over by the vehicle, it happens. So the story of Periyar actually got a healthy population, I think 30, 40 or 50 tigers there. It's actually evergreen forest, which doesn't have a spotted ears. And the main food is sambar and gore and all for tigers. So tigers do survive, but they probably have a larger territory and they need to cover a lot of area. Like the places like in Nagaravale or Wayanad Wildlife Sanctuary or the jungles in central India, they are actually a lot of spotted. The prey population is pretty strong. So like I mentioned, the food, water, or if it's a male, female habitat. So these are a few things. So the I think the prey population is less in Periyar because of it's evergreen forest. It's not the great habitat for tigers compared to central Indian jungle. Somebody's asking, in Sherni movie, there is a scene, they say that pugmark fresh 2-3 hours, how they identify the time of the pugmark. Okay, like I think I already mentioned. Once you start working in a jungle and when you see this tiger tracks, tiger pugmarks every day, you tend to learn different clues, especially the people who work there. So imagine if the tiger walked on a lot of sandy soil, and if the edges is pretty sharp and there is no changes there, and tiger it's walked, it's quite fresh. If there is a dust inside, if there is a lot of leaves inside, or the edges are not sharp, these are the things we say, okay, this is tiger actually walked probably half an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours before, because they could be already there is dust and all that. Okay, somebody's asking, have you seen any peculiar behaviors in tigers quite different from the usual in the wild, which could be traced to any evident or non-evident disturbance? I don't know. So there was one tiger in Ghana. He used to lick on the ground. We didn't know what is the reason. I mean, he used to go and just lick on the ground. Yeah, we didn't know what is the. Yeah, it's probably a peculiar behavior. We don't know much about it. Somebody's asking, can you tell us something about the eyesight of a tiger? Tiger's eyesight, it's actually rod cells and corn cells. We can't see it at night, but tigers can do see daytime and the nighttime equally powerful. Yeah. Any other? What's the lifespan of a tiger? I think I already mentioned it's 12 to 15 years in the wild. I don't know if I missed any questions and all. You can go on our Facebook page, Wayanad Wild. You can ask there. I'll come back to you and answer those questions. Any other questions? Like the black panther, different from regular leopards, is white tiger is a similar phenomenon. See, I think it's a different this thing, no? It's melanistic leopard. Yeah, but I don't know much about it. Probably I can check with somebody and get back to you, Gopal Verma. I don't know. Somebody's asking, are Homo sapiens part of the food chain? It is a tricky question to answer. I think, yeah, we are also, but we don't. With the help of the tools, we are ruling everything. I think we are done with the most of the questions. I hope all of you enjoyed it. Wishing you all the very best. Hope you will see the tigers in the wild. Do visit most of the tiger reserves. And one thing I suggest, try to find some good naturalists before you go. Stay in a responsible lodge where they do actually give it back something to the community there. Make sure that is one thing I always do. I always worked in places where they always contributed back to the community, not like just to make money. And yeah, so visit Tiger. They're amazing cat to see. There are a few parks like Kana, Bandhavgarh, Pench, Satpura, Corbett, Tadoba, Nagarhole, Bandipur. All those places are amazing place to see tigers. Do go and watch tigers, and whatever way you can protect it, do that. Thank you so much. If you have any more questions, you can come back to that Facebook page and ask. Good night, all of you. Thank you so much for joining us. Yeah. We are ending this session. Thank you.